two gentlemen, three. Field of a lot of things. It's great. Thank you very much for coming today. I really appreciate you guys taking time from your work, and would love to give you today as much of a brief explanation about what crowdfunding is, the history of it, and if you want to really get into putting a campaign, how ways you can actually, the success points that you should have to have a successful project. And then lastly, I'll end it with talking about us as a government and what we have and how we So, but before I start, I'd like to give you a brief, first of all, can you guys all hear me? Yeah, perfect. So just a brief background about myself. As Nadine was saying, my name is Maurice Tanas. I am Palestinian Lebanese, born in Kuwait, grew up in Jordan, studied in the US. Just one of those third culture kids. And I've been in Dubai for almost 9 years. I started my career working for the family office of Majlis and looking into the family office wealth, investing in equity funds, fixed income funds, hedge funds, etc. And now, now I also work in the DIFC for a hedge fund, focusing on sales and business development. But at the same time, my passion comes into where I am right now is business development and sales, but also talking about crowdfunding, getting involved in crowdfunding. I started with crowdfunding about 1.5 years ago when I wanted to get into something different from just sitting behind a desk that I was doing previously. And I realized that for many times I've spoke to some people who were looking into investments or talking about investments, and they always had some barriers, and those barriers were some company wants to invest with me, but they've just, without anything, they're asking for 20-30% of my company, just right out of the bat. Or some people say, I don't know where to get the funding. So when I've done my research and I found more information about crowdfunding, I was like, this is something that the region here needs. And and there's the potential is great. So Fkarmina is actually four founders. We, all four of us actually went to the same high school in Jordan. It just happened. Really, it wasn't planned from day one. It would be like 1, 2, 3. So my colleague Abdul Majeed Shoman was supposed to come in. He was unfortunately had an urgent matter in Jordan to make. He couldn't come today. So it was Abdul Majeed and I were both finance backgrounds. Abdul Majeed worked at the Arab Bank and worked at math. Faris Al-Fadah, he's a computer genius, so he's based in Silicon Valley. And then our last one is our person who we say that puts us in check is Ghada Audeh. She's a part-time mom and also has worked in social media and communications for the last 7 years. So that's a brief, as much as I could, in a very short period about Fkarmina and who we are in the background. So today, I'm going to discuss with you about these topics: history of crowdfunding, how the banks took over and the financial crisis, crowdfunding where it is today, the 4 different models of crowdfunding, pros and cons of each model, the steps then to have a successful campaign, and lastly, I'll end it with what is crowdfunding. So brief history about crowdfunding. The concept of crowdfunding has always been there. It's not a new concept, but previously when anyone wanted to give create a book or create anything back in the days, they used to always get it from the village or from the group of friends around it. So the concept of crowdfunding has always been there. But with history, it has gone through changes. But these are one of 3 different examples that I would like to highlight to show that crowdfunding has been there in the past. In the 1700s, Jonathan Swift creates an Irish loan and providing alternative source of funding for 20% of his community. Another one, 1884, Joseph Pulitzer funds building the pedestal of the Statue of Liberty from 125,000 people for each paying $1 or less. And then lastly, in 1997, the British rock band Merlion funded $60,000 to tour the US from the fans. So these are examples of how there was in the past. Now the thing is though, because the banking industry took such tremendous growth over the last, 100 years or so, the banking industry was a place where you had to go get a loan, any kind of investment, any kind of source of funding. It was the banking industry. And the banking industry dominated and grew and grew and grew even more where if you needed to do anything, you had to go to the bank or an investment bank. But as you all know, the beauty of the growth, you need sometimes of a crash. 2007, 2008. It's still new to some people's minds. A lot of people went through a lot of disasters. Rise of derivatives, leverage limits were increased. Banks were lending right, left, and center, giving people in the, like for example in the US, 100% mortgage to buy a house, and they even probably give them 10% more for them to take out any kind of equity. That led to subprime. A lot of people who weren't eligible to actually buy houses or didn't have stable incomes. Subprime happened, then real estate prices started dropping, a boom happened, and as we all remember, financial crisis occurred. And what was the beauty of that happening? Banks stopped lending. Nothing. For 2 years, every single bank stopped because they had to restructure themselves. They had to either be bought by another bank or be bailed out by the banks. And that completely took a lot of people by shock because you couldn't get any funding. There was nowhere, no bank. You couldn't buy a house. It was very difficult to do anything. So I have a question for you guys. Okay, good. What were the banks like in the region to lending to small businesses and enterprises before the crisis? Does anyone have points? How was it? How was it in the region before that?
Negative.
Sorry?
Negative.
Negative. You weren't very supportive or not supportive?
No,
or?
they weren't supportive. They
Okay.
were negative about it. They wouldn't lend them because they wouldn't feel that they are capable of maintaining their loans. I mean, but obviously, in the financial market, that's why the crisis and the crash happened. Is because probably at the end, banks were lending too easily to too many, without any collateral, proper collateral.
Perfect. Anyone else?
I wasn't an SME then, but I remember I used to get lots of calls from different banks offering loans.
Perfect. And take money, free credit cards, name it, right? Love those days. I'm not serious, I'm not joking. I remember at least getting calls a day, a week for a free credit card from any bank that started to set up. But then my next question is, how was it post the financial crisis? Did you guys receive any phone calls from any of these banks? Were credit cards being given to any of you for free?
Recently, starting now.
Well, recently.
It's coming back, yes.
That is true. It is coming back. But for as a business, if you knew anyone, or how was it? Did you guys face difficulties?
Even to start an account, it's difficult now. You have to have 500,000 in the account to even start a business. It made it that difficult.
I remember even when people want to look at the real estate prices here, prices were so cheap relative. But if you had to take a loan from a bank, the bank would say, all right, 40%, 50%. If any, I would give you anything. So what's great about all of this, I'm going to transition, but now my next question would be to all of you guys. With crowdfunding, what comes to your mind? Words or phrases? What comes to your mind when someone tells you or the word crowdfunding?
Community.
Sorry?
Community.
Community.
Many people chipping in one cause.
Perfect. Next.
Kickstarter.
Sorry?
Kickstarter.
Kickstarter. Perfect.
Cooperative.
Perfect.
Okay, social media. So
Great.
the power of social media.
Great.
Ecosystem.
Sorry?
The ecosystem.
Great.
Funding circle.
You guys hit actually a lot of good points. Crowdfunding is development, engagement, social, artist, support, conceptual, ideas, organization. And what's great about all of this is I'm going to integrate it, I'm going to explain to you what crowdfunding integrated with the whole financial crisis. So what is crowdfunding? The practice of funding a project or venture by raising many small amounts of money, like you guys mentioned, from a large group of people via the internet. Whoops. Now, crowdfunding is an internet-enabled way for businesses and organizations to raise money, typically usually amount of $1,000 to almost $1 million, in the form of donations or investments from multiple individuals. But what's interesting is that this new form of capital formation emerged in the wake of the 2008 financial crisis, because a lot of difficulties, a lot of early stage entrepreneurs or businesses have faced difficulties finding funding. And what happened is that in less than a decade, crowdfunding has grown and has taken the financial industry by storm. The amount of money that has been raised over the last, since the crisis till now, continues to grow and grow. And that is because of the beauty of, when a crisis happened, there's opportunities that happen. And when that opportunity happened, when banks stopped lending, the financial industry was in, excuse my language, in its dirt. People realized the growth of social media was growing, internet was growing more, and people had cash, but they weren't willing to give it because they weren't sure where to give it. They couldn't trust the system, but they trust the internet for some reason, and they trust social media, they trust their peers. And what they realize is, well, this concept of crowdfunding has always been there, and I can, post an item and be able to get something from my friends. And I know my friends know me. A bank doesn't know me, but a friend knows me, and my friends' friends know me. So utilize that peer-to-peer integration with people actually has grown and has done a tremendous amount to the financial industry over the last several years. Now, how does it work? Starting number one. You have an idea, light bulb. Your idea could be, I want to create an iPhone case. I want to create a cause. I want to raise awareness for a cause. I want to start I have an SME and I want to raise more money for it. I have a music. I'm a musician. I have a great band, and I want to create more albums. I want to tour. These are ideas of how an item happens. You can start with that idea. The next step is you post that idea with information on a crowdfunding platform. Once that is posted and approved by that platform, then you use the power of social media and your network. You post it and you post on Facebook, you post on Twitter, YouTube, and you speak to your own networks and you build your own crowd and you're building your community around it, because in the end, crowdfunding is a community. So once you post it on that, then you have the community, investors or donators. They will decide if they like your idea or not. And if they actually liked your idea and donated or contributed or invested, then you have number 5. Either you succeed, if people like you, and then you provide them what you told them you will give them in return for the amount of money that they gave you. And if it didn't work, you go back to the drawing board. It doesn't mean that you failed, but failure is actually, you won't succeed in life unless you fail. I truly believe that. So that's the great thing that's how the system of crowdfunding works. You start from an idea all the way to having the crowd contributing and verifying. That's the key word, is that the crowd verifies your idea. Not the bank or a person who's sitting behind a desk who, I don't know, you're asking only for $10,000, it's too little. I'd rather go for a $100 million loan versus a $10,000 loan. Or your idea is, I'm not sure if the crowd, the people like your idea. It's verified. Now,
Sorry, last quick question. You mentioned platform approval.
Yes.
What approvals are required for this item?
well, let's,
Or what platforms?
no drugs. Simple fact is, like, you don't post something that is related to drugs, politics, pornography, things. Those are one of the basics. And then you have age restriction. You have to be 18 and above. But there's several ways like that. So, activity. What I'm would like to try to do a social experiment, and this will give you a great idea of what kind of information you want. So here are the rules. 6 questions. One question actually has several pointers. And then listen and make a decision. Raise your hands for each one question that I give you. And a little bit of background on each. Assume that you are part of the 54% Americans that invest in markets and have a diversified portfolio of investments. Assume that you have $1,000 in disposable income, so you can actually spend it, and if you lose it or you invest and you make money out of it, great, but it's not your savings. And then how many of you would give me? So I am posting a project and I am asking you now, give me $1,000. But my total amount will be $100,000 that I need. But I'm asking you if you can give me $1,000. here are my questions. I told you, this is just bare minimum. I'm telling you that I would like to start a business that flavored medicines for children. That's it. That's the only thing you know. Would you be interested? Would any of you give me money? Perfect. Second, what if I told you I passed a fraud check and I'm not a cheater? Would that give you comfort? Okay? Tough crowd. What if I presented to you information, and this is several pointers, about why kids don't like prescription medicines? Tastes not great. I remember not liking cough medicine when I was young. What if I told you my solution uses yummy flavors that overcome the bad taste, but actually doesn't deter from the power of the strength of the medicine? Wow. If I tell you how I will make the money, what I will do, what will make me money? Okay. What if I tell you why I need 100,000? I'll give you details specifying I need 100,000 for FDA approval. I need $100,000 for because I'm close to getting approval, or that I actually need to buy more equipment for utilizing to create one of the machines to be able to make the yummy flavor not deter. Would any of you be interested? Okay. What if I tell you, what will I do with that 100,000? No. The milestones. If I tell you I need $100,000 and I'm going to specify to you that every level at 10,000 I need $10,000 because I need to create an item. And then the next 10,000, and the next 10,000. Every single 10,000, I'll tell you why I need each the $100,000. Would that give you comfort to tell you why I'm actually giving you the 100,000? Anyone? Sorry?
Like the last 3 points are almost the same, right?
Yes and no. There are details. There are specifications. So why I need the 100,000 is why I need it. I need to create a new machine to make this level of flavored medicines. What will I do with it? Giving you more details about each level of the amount of money. And then same thing with the milestones, even more detail. What if I tell you that I will give you 25% of my company if you give me 100,000? There's that first one.
See, because I was going to say, up until point F, it was all about you.
Yeah.
Like, what is it in for you? Like, the minute you put G, then you've heard the crowd say yes, because you're going to give 25%.
Perfect.
So it's a give and take.
Yes.
And this is my very close friend.
Yeah.
I'm feeling altruistic.
You guys are getting, there it is, it's coming. Then, what if I proved to you that I was an earnest and young entrepreneur of the year award? Shows you that I actually,
It's credible.
I'm credible.
Yeah, but it doesn't mean anything.
No, but
it
it's
failed.
still- yeah.
True. I can actually still take the money and leave.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's true. There's always that risk. What if I was your brother, cousin, family, best friend, and you saw me develop this?
No family. No
But the idea is that you saw me develop this. You saw me work on this hard. You would? Yeah. You would.
I would.
Yeah, because you saw me work on it and you saw me really get involved in it. And it's not like I just sat one day sitting on my couch watching TV and, ooh, I want to do this. Can you give me money?
But I'd rather ask strangers for money than my family.
No, but sometimes if you have a really viable idea and you've been working at it, for example, my daughter has been working, she left 2 years ago her own comfort and a full-time security of a big company and to set up her own business in London. And 2 years later she's growing, and of course we've helped her with her parents, and her brother helped her because we believed in her, because we saw the results. We saw her working, we saw her achieving, and we saw her bringing results. So yes, we're supporting her. She's still in the beginning. 2 years is not enough, but she's building herself up, and that's part of it.
And that's what exactly, and she hit some very good points. So your name is?
Wasila.
Wasila. Wasila makes a very good point, because if her family and friends family supports her, the friends are going to realize, wow, this family is behind it. And then her friends and friends are going to realize, wow, this is something that's serious. And they see the idea of product. And that's the beauty about the peer-to-peer group that you can be able to get. Then my last question, I'd say, don't give me 1,000, give me $50, $250. You don't actually have to spend a lot. Would that give you more comfort? Be like, okay, I'd rather give you 50 versus 1,000.
Yeah.
So going through this kind of questionnaires and details is things that is needed and required when you actually present or put information on the crowdfunding platform. Because as you specify, I'll tell you why I need it, but at the same time, how I will benefit you and what I will give you in return. Now, there are 4 kinds of crowdfunding platforms: donation, reward, loans, and equity. Donation has been there for a long, long time. You used to give to the Red Cross or any NGO or any charity organization. That's technically donation. That entity would collect money and have a nice graph. My money goes towards a cost. That's it. You're not getting anything back. The next one is reward. Here's my money, and I will exchange. And in exchange, I'll have a reward or service or product, because that's what you're giving. You're producing. Loan. Here's my money. I'll take 10% interest. Then lastly, equity. I love a stake in your company, depending on whatever the size is. With these 4, donation started, but then with the financial crisis, reward, loan, and equity grew even more because of the power of social media, the power that the banking industry was where it was. And people wanted to be like, okay, I'll give you money, but I want something in return. But now it's not something I want something in return, because I actually like what you're doing and I want to see you continue growing. That's where the models have moved forward. Now there's 2 ways you can actually raise money on crowdfunding. 2 ways in the sense of the amount of money you would receive. There's all or nothing, or keep it all. All or nothing literally means, I say I need $10,000. If I don't receive, or I don't achieve that $10,000 by the time period that I've allocated and said I need it, I, as a creator, will not receive the money. And people who contributed get their money back. And that, some people, gives that comfort that, okay, if I needed $10,000 to create, I don't know, I always go with my iPhone case, but an iPhone case, and my idea only raised $1,000. It gives that people comfortable, okay, if he took that $1,000, how will I know he will continue with that project? So all or nothing, you need to raise the amount or more within that time frame. Keep it all literally means you keep whatever money you raise. If you ask for 10, you only get 1,000. You keep that 1,000. And usually keep it all usually works great for social organizations, because these social charity organizations always would like to have some kind of money. They always raise money. Now with all this beauty, there has to be a pro and con for each one. The next 3 slides, I will go in detail about, bless you, the pros and cons of each of the models. I've combined donation and reward together because there are strong similarities between them. And then I have pros and cons for equity and loan. What I've done is I've split the pros and cons for each one. So if I'm a creator, I've posted a project, what is my benefit and my negative for posting? But what's important is, what about you as the crowd? What's your benefit to give me money, and what is the negativity for giving me money? So with reward, I'm giving you money, and you give me money, and I'm giving you something in return as a product or service. So as contributors, contributors, the great thing is that you're supporting an idea from the beginning. You see something flourish from the beginning. That gives you that kind of sense of, I've helped someone from the beginning, and I see something moving forward. You receive something in kind. So as I said, with an iPhone case, I'm creating an iPhone case. Or if I'm a musician, I'm creating an album, you will receive my album. You will receive maybe a tour for my music because you like my music and you want to support me. And then last but not least, contribute small amounts. You don't have to give me $1,000. Be great, but you can give me $1, $2, $5, $20, $100. But the amounts can be small. It's not the large amounts. But as a contributor, what are the cons? The potential return is small. You know, you're getting a product. You're not getting a return on investment. So it's not like you put $100, you're going to get 10% back. So it's there's no security, accountability. Yes, there is that risk that I as a person can take my money. I as a contributor ask for 10,000, I raise my 10,000, leave. That is a risk. Or the business ended up going way over the head and failed. There's always that risk. But as in every business, there's always risk. And that's where you as a crowd decide, is this project or that idea achievable or not? And then difficulty raising substantial capital without a product mass. There could be potential that you would post a project, but it's going to be difficult for that project to raise money because it's competing with other projects and to get money from other people. So that's from a contributor's perspective, lending me money as a person who's creating a project. But what are my benefits? 100% company ownership. And that's key for a lot of entrepreneurs is I have an idea and suddenly I own it. And having that ownership of a business from the beginning, it's like your baby. You don't want to give your babies away from the beginning. And that's where a lot of investment banks or angel investors, VCs, in the region here, at first when it was like, okay, fine, you need money, I'll take 20% of your company. Well, you're like, hold on a second, I just started. You can raise significantly more. I asked for 10,000, I could potentially raise 50,000. And that I can raise 50,000 because the crowd liked my idea, liked my business, and wants to see it grow more. And more importantly of all, is it verifies, the crowd can verify my idea. It's free marketing. I can get beta, I can test my idea. I have the crowd communicating with me, telling me yes or no. And that connectivity with everyone else, that's great because because when you go down at a later stage, and I'll show you a chart, you can go to people, be like, well, hold on, my business is growing because I got 1,000 backers backing my product, my idea, and I was able to raise $50,000 versus my $10,000. It gives you that free marketing because it doesn't cost you to post on the platform. What is the difficulties? Well, it's time consuming. This is not something that can be done overnight and you just post and then let it go. Because it's a lot of communication that you have to continue with, communicating with your backers. The competition is there. As I mentioned, you could post your project, but you're competing against other projects getting money from other backers. So there are ways to, you have to have a good video or a good written page explaining, detailing those questions that I've posted, giving those details, but not, let's say, giving your secret sauce, gives people that comfort that, okay, my $10,000 that is going somewhere, but you need to attract people, so it's that time consumption. And at the same time, if I'm working on a reward, if I say I'm creating a new iPhone case, or I'm a musician, or I'm creating a cause, but what I'm giving in return is something not appealing or doesn't make sense, like I'm going to create an iPhone case, I need a manufacturer, but in return, I'll just give you t-shirts, that's it. I'm not going to give you a sample of the iPhone case. Which probably it's not going to work because people want to get something back. And then, fixed funding, all or nothing. I might not receive all the amounts because if nobody liked my idea, I actually might not receive anything. So there's that possibility that I will get zero. Equity. I'd love a stake in your company. What's the benefit? You as a crowd will be able to own a share of a venture. You can, small amounts, but you'll be able to own that venture. You can be able to say, that's my company, I've helped it grow. And more importantly, if you get invest in that company, you probably will be able to get your community, your friends and friends investing in you. So you build that network and you potentially ending up getting more people around you to invest in that company. And then the financial gain is tremendous because you can end, going back to that, getting investors, more people will invest in that company. So I wanted to support a business that needed $100,000, $200,000, but if I get my friends around me and contribute, that business could end up raising $200,000, $300,000, $400,000. But what are the negativities? As any business, there is potential loss of investment. The business might go over its head, might fail, might go bankrupt, there is that risk that my $1,000, $2,000 will come zero. Equity holders are, if there was any loans on the company, you'll be the last person to receive any kind of cash that is remaining, because if the company had to close, it has to pay off all its debt. So you're pretty much at the lower bracket of the structure. And then the laws. You need to make sure and understand, how does the laws work? Taxation, where am I based? How is the company structured? If I invested, am I going to be taxed? How's the tax litigations on? How's the tax implications on? That's key information that you need to know as a contributor. Me as a business, what are my benefits? I could raise a lot of money, because if a lot of people like my business, that means, and if I have a backing of, if I have a restaurant, and I have a lot of people coming to my restaurant or business, investing in it, I can actually go to them and they can support me, and I can actually raise more money than I expected because my community is helping me. At the same time, I don't need to give that cash out for, like the loans, which will be the next page. People invest in me, and I have that cash. I don't have to worry about, if I have debts, I'll have to pay that debts, but that works. At the same time, I can ask for $100,000, but only say I'll give you 5% of my company for $100,000. So I don't have to worry about, I'm giving my heart and soul and my arm to someone else. I can say $100,000 for 5% of my company. Gives me that sense of, I still own my company, but I want to share it with my community and build my community. Then what's the difficulties? It's time consuming. Crowdfunding is not something that you do, that can be done overnight and just be like, okay, cool. It's time consuming, it's difficult, especially as an equity base. There's a lot of upfront costs because you have to create the structures, whether you're an offshore entity, onshore entity, the legalities. You at the same time then have to start reporting financial statements. You can't just give an Excel sheet and say, yes, here's an Excel sheet and yeah, trust me. So it becomes very, yes?
Sorry,
Okay. No.
I just wanted to ask what the regulation behind crowdfunding is. Is it
Crowd investing? So equity crowdfunding is called crowd investing.
Is it regulated?
Yes, and it depends on which regions are you talking about. So the crowdfunding in the US and Europe has grown, have laws, and it's slowly starting to change the way in the developing world.
But here in the UAE, is it?
I'm sorry?
Here in the UAE, is it?
Not yet. Not yet. On loans, what are the benefits? So there's a predetermined agreement on what the rate is going to be that you are going to give me. So it's not it's not that back and forth, we negotiate 0.5 or 7% or 6%. It's agreed, it's moved, you know what it is, you know that rate. And then if you're a senior to everyone else, you're senior to equity holders. So if the company decided to close, and they have to pay you off before they pay themselves off. The downsides, if there are bank loans, you're below the bank loans. So then startups have a high failure rate. So you got to make sure that when you're giving money to a business, you need to make sure that that business is successful and has a cash flow. That's the last point. There's a cash flow because you want to make sure that that business will be able to pay off its loans, whether it's to the banks, to yourself, to its own businesses. What if the benefits for a business asking for a loan is that it can get quick cash. It doesn't have to go through the banking industry and wait and come back and forth. It has this community that can support it. And company ownership. You own your company still. You don't have to give it away because it's a loan. Difficulties? You as a business need to make sure that you have good credit and are successful, because you need to be able to make sure that you can succeed. To ask people, say, trust me. And then the next thing you need is, there's that cash flow. You have, other than paying your operating businesses, now that you're asking loans from people, I need to pay off my loan towards you and any other debts or operating businesses that I have. So that needs to be always kept in mind. By the way, how are we with time?
We're good. Still have 15 minutes. Around 15.
Okay, perfect. So where does this all fit? The next 2 slides will tell you, with everything that I spoke about, where does it fit? Where does that part of the crowdfunding fit in this whole business cycle? How can I benefit from it? So donation-based usually are for arts, asking for $10,000 more, and it is growing in the developing world. And the last section here is suitable for high growth or innovative startups. So if you actually, for arts, anything less than 10,000, it's not as easy to just grow into an innovative or to grow for a startup. Reward-based is great. You usually ask around $100,000, sometimes less. But it's great testing ground. And go back, it's a verification of your product and idea for free. Microfinancing is usually around the $1,000 range. Social lending, same thing with social causes, NGOs, usually around the $50,000 range. In crowd investing, around the $250,000 range, usually for tech or SMEs, and it's great for the growth of the company. Now, what I'd like to highlight about this is that this is where crowdfunding now sets in with the whole business cycle. So first you start with an idea inception, and then before you have to go to the VC or the banker or angel investor. But with crowdfunding, it fills that gap. Whether it's reward-based or crowd investing, it fills that gap for you where you can be able to now go crowdfund, and if you're successful on crowdfunding, then go to the VC and tell the VC, okay, now I need $1 million or more amount. And the VC could come and say, well, no, I'm not sure about it. But now you could be like, actually, hold on a second. Well, I've actually crowdfunded my idea or my business. I was able to get 1,000 backers. I have raised $50,000, 2 times or 3 times more than what I was actually asking for. So now what do you think? Because it gives that VC, the angel investor, that due diligence has already been done in a way by the crowd. There is a backing, there is support from people. So that is where it connects to the next stage of getting the larger sums of money, getting the bigger investors coming into you and helping you out. And that can work for both reward-based and equity-based and loans. It works with all of them because you're getting the crowd and the community to support you on your idea or business. Now, with every success, there's failures. I have posted here some projects that have worked and some have been scams. I'll show you a very high extreme of how crowdfunding, and this is an example of Kickstarter is one of the world's actually largest crowdfunding site in the world, and it's based in the US. An example, Pebble Watch. They're based in the US, and they actually were asking for $100,000 to create a smart watch. They had a prototype, but they wanted to gain more traction and be able to, that $100,000 to manufacture and to distribute. But people loved it so much, they raised $10.2 million with a lot of backers and a lot of support from a lot of people. It got verified, their product verified. Now the downside of raising that much money, they were 2 years delayed in producing their items because there was so much support. And that's the key thing, is that when I'll go with the success rates, is that you need to know what you're able to achieve, and if you end up really reaching that huge extreme, to know that you can be able to handle it, or keep communicating with your crowd saying, guys, we're over our heads, but we're still in it. And then want to go down to Veronica Mars, another example. Veronica Mars was a TV show in the US. They actually, the actors themselves wanted to create a movie. And what was great is that they said, well, rather than going to the producers, I'll actually ask my people, my fans. They ended up raising $5 million, $5.7 million from their fans to actually produce the movie, to get money so they can produce the movie. It's the beauty of the crowd, and that's the beauty. The beauty of the crowd can help you. If you have the support from your family, your friends, your first circle, your second circle, and your third circle of networks, you have what you need, because people can verify and support you. Now, with every project, there's a scam. That is the risk. It's not foolproof. That's something that needs people to understand, is that it's not like you post a project and it's foolproof. Even the crowdfunding platform will do their best, but the key thing is that you as a contributor, investor, lender, we recommend for you to go and actually do your due diligence. See, okay, this person, who's he friends with? Go to my Facebook, my LinkedIn page, my Twitter, see who does he know? And then ask that person. If you don't know that specific person, you ask around. You find it, you Google, you literally can Google anything on the internet now, right? Type your name and you find a lot of stuff on it. So that is the key thing. You need to be comfortable with what you're investing and who you're giving it to. Now, success crowdfunding projects. The next slide I'll give you is what are the steps if you want to create a campaign, whether it's a business, you're asking for loans, or you're asking for a cause, or have a product or music that you want to start building. First, know your audience. Who are you trying to attract? Who are you trying to get money from? Who you want to back you? Because if you know who your audience is, then you know how to communicate with your audience. You know what words or what things they want to know so that they can give or contribute or invest with you. Prepare. Prepare, prepare, prepare. It is not easy. It is time consuming, but it's great. Because the learning experience that you get out of it, you literally end up learning a lot of things about a lot of things that forces you to know about your business. So prepare. Prepare about asking those questions that I asked you. If you want $100,000, I need to tell people, I need to know why I need $100,000. What am I going to do with it? How long will I use it? What will I give it in return? All that information is key so that you can communicate to the crowd and your support and your community. Market. We all advise everyone to market their idea month to 2 months before they actually before they promote it, because you want to build on a wave of, by the time you crowdfund, people have known about you and you already have a wave of community and supporters coming to you, that once you invest, within a week, 2 weeks, you get that momentum of people investing in you. And also market is social media, your networks, Twitter, Facebook, whichever. Goals. And what I highlight is achievable goals, something that is realistic. So if I come and say, I go back to the iPhone case, but if I want to create an iPhone case and I say, okay, here's my idea, but I actually need $1 million to manufacture. You'd be like, not sure, right? Because it's a bit too much. But if I say, I need $20,000 to just build about 100 or 200, it gives you that comfort. But what's also goal is something that is you can be able to handle, that you can be able to say, if I receive, you might say, I need $100,000 to do X, Y, Z. But you know what? I want from the crowd only $20,000. I don't need the full amount. I will tell you as a creator or business, I'll tell you, I need to do 1, 2, 3. I need $100,000, but I'm only asking you from the crowd for $20,000. You don't have to put the whole amount, because you might not, as one of the issues with crowdfunding is that there's a lot of backers, and there's a lot of creators, so you're competing with a lot of people. So asking for a lesser amount is not negative. It actually might be helpful, because you might actually receive more than the 20, or you might reach the 100,000. Video pitch. 2 to 3 minute video pitches on the when you post gives that people that comfort that they can see you. They see you, they know you. And it's like you're almost having a one-on-one conversation with them, telling them, okay, why you need it, giving them a brief 2-3 minute video. Nothing more, because we as humans have a short attention span. Written pitch, those detailed questions. Now, I'm not asking like a whole 40-page document, but on a project, you specify why you need the money, what are the risks, and how will you use the money. And detailing, so that people can read about it and get comfortable with who you are and what you're doing. Rewards. Now, rewards could be that product or service, or I'm giving you an interest, or I'm giving you a portion of my company. So make it something reasonable that you as a business or campaigner can be able to handle and are willing to give. Lastly, keep communicating. Your crowd is very important. Communicate with your crowd, you communicate with your supporters, they get that, they don't feel that, oh, they're just one of those, I donated and gone, it's a lost cause. So that's the beauty about crowdfunding, is that now you know where I as a contributor, I know where my money is going. I know why is it going and where is it going for. And you communicate, and you as a creator or business, if you keep communicating with your crowd and your supporters, they feel that comfort that they're not lost, the money's gone. Marketing strategies. So research. Research is great. By posting a project, it's free. It's free market research. You can see if people like your idea, if it verifies the idea or not. And it's free promotion. You say, okay, I'm creating my music, and I'll give you my album for free. It's free. And then you keep engaging with your customers. That engagement with your customers is very key. Network. People will be very surprised on how much we utilize our networks. Take your phone book. See who you are. Contact people. Build your network. People from work. People from outside of work. Have your friends, your network as your other networks. Because in the end, that is the community that you want to support and get around you.
Facebook style.
Sorry?
Facebook style.
Facebook style, but at the same time, you want to have that one-on-one with that person, because you don't want to just throw it out there.
Social media.
Social media, as you go back to Facebook. Look, social media is free. Utilize it. It's not going to hurt you. On the contrary, it might go well, because if you have a great idea, the extreme is that the crowd, the supporters, will literally make it go viral and end up getting money from not, let's say, your local community, but ends up getting money from someone in Brazil. And that's the beauty about crowdfunding, is that the world is funding you. It's not just the people around you.
That could be something.
Well, I have 3 more slides, and then we can do a Q&A after that, because I'm limited on time. All right, so let me give you numbers. This is from the World Bank information. Actually, statistics. Crowdfunding has grown. 2011, $1.5 billion was raised from crowdfunding around the world. 2012, 2.7 billion, and last year, 5.1 billion. So when I tell you, it has taken the finance industry by storm, and it's growing, it is. 30% of the money that was raised last year came from social causes, such as, I want to raise awareness for autism, I want to raise awareness for the mentally ill. Then about 12% came from films, and another example is 17% for business and entrepreneurship, such as, I have an idea, I want you to support me. This is a chart from the World Bank. This gives you, there was a report that was presented this year. It gives you an idea of what their belief is the market potential for crowdfunding in the world. They say $5.6 billion is the market potential for the MENA region, and probably going to grow because it's gaining. The region here is gaining traction. Europe, 14 billion. China, 48 billion. There is potential, and this is something that is growing. And to talk about the region here, the region is growing. It's still in its infancy about crowdfunding, but there is traction. There is support. There are people in the crowd that are investing in projects or ideas or businesses. So I'll give you an idea of several crowdfunding platforms that are in the region. For equity, you have Eureka. Oh, okay. So you have Eureka and Shikra. They're both equity crowdfunding. So going back, the projects that get posted on their site are projects that are willing to give you an equity in their company. Pie Slice, microfinance. And then reward-based. Afkar Minna, Zuman, and Aflam. And there are probably more, and there are probably going to be more growing. And that's the great beauty about this, is that the more that there are, that means the more there is support, and that means there are more, gives that verification for people to say that crowdfunding is not just something like a craze, it's here to stay. So I would like to show you, this is us, Afkar Minna. or some people like to say something. The name we say Afkar Minna, but some people like to say Afkar Mina, whichever. But for those who don't understand, who don't know Arabic, Afkar in Arabic means ideas. Mina is Middle East, North Africa. But at the same time, in Arabic, Minna means from us. So ideas from us, ideas from the crowd being from the Middle East, ideas coming from there. Sorry? Thank you. Thank you. And actually, a colleague, a friend of mine actually pointed out, Mina is also port in Arabic.
Yeah, that's true.
So we actually, that second part we didn't think about it. Just my friend, after like almost a year, he decided, like, oh yeah. And just another thing. So that logo that you see, we actually crowdsourced that logo. So we actually went to a website called 99 Designs, and you say what your idea is, what you want to do, and you have designers from all around the world pitching to what your point is that you wanted, and that's how we got our logo. So our logo was actually crowdsourced. 99 Designs.
See, now everybody's gonna go check them out.
Yeah.
But check out Permanent first. So I just want to check one thing here. I'd love to see if the internet is still working. Please.
Please work.
Cross your fingers, guys, and toes. Head, shoulders, knees, and toes. Yes.
It's working.
Yes, it is. Great. All right. So if you come to our site right now, we have two projects. I would like to show you two videos. First is a video that when you see on our website, just realize we're not connected over here. 1 second. Oh, there it is. I found it. It's okay. All right. So this is our website. I want to show you this video.
You have a vision you've always wanted to create, a brilliant new software or an innovative new product, a company that will change the face of an entire industry, a work of art that is undeniable in its vision, even a game that will captivate the minds of people around the world. You may have always told yourself these dreams aren't achievable. You may have believed it would be impossible to reach the people who could fund such a vision, or to convince them to put their faith and their support behind you. You may have thought you should do something normal, traditional, reliable. You don't have to settle for that. Afkar Minna is changing the way creative projects are funded in the MENA region. Visionaries with brilliant ideas together with the people who can and want to see that vision come to life. Under Afkar Minna, entrepreneurs, business owners, engineers, designers, artists, and creatives of every stripe are getting the funding they need without having to sacrifice their vision or any part of their equity. You don't need to rely on impressing a faceless bank or a far-off investor. You don't need to worry about how to get the ear of the influencer. You can find everyone you need to bring your vision to life right here. Afkar Minna is a crowdfunding platform where individuals come together to support projects they like with their own funds. If your project reaches its funding goal, you'll receive all the money pledged by your investors. In return, you'll give your funders compelling rewards you pledged in exchange. Even better, creators retain full ownership over their work. No equity, no investors, no loan repayments. Together, creators and backers shape an infinite cycle of giving and receiving as project after project stops being an impossible dream and comes to life. Come be a part of the new age of creativity with Afkar Minna. Visit our website today.
Very nice.
So, to go through, this is, now Afkar Minna, we are a reward-based crowdfunding site. Reward-based, as I said, is people post projects, and what contributors will get in return for the amount of money is rewards. So something tangible or service in return. So, just like to, can we get on time?
We're running out of time.
Okay.
So we have to leave the
All right. So I just want to show you. So there are two projects that we have currently on our site. One is a gaming app, and I just want to run through the site. So when you see a crowdfunding platform, how does it look like? So you get the video of the project. It specifies how much is being raised, how much they're asking for, how many backers, how many days left. And then you see here, the description on the project, what this project, this is a gaming app, they're based in Jordan. They actually want to create a musical gaming app, and they're asking for funding and support from the community. And these are the rewards that they're willing to give, such as for as much as $5, or you can give less, you get a Facebook page. Or if you go $15, you get an early access to the game, and your naming and posting on your Facebook page. Or if you really want to go higher, you get $500, you get 1 week, 3 hour a day free lessons on how to create your own game. And then this project also has corporate sponsorship. So as much as $15,000, they'll get in-game ads, logo on Facebook, and credits and selection of that corporate onto the project. Then lastly is NGO. So this is a lady who is creating she's a jewelry maker in Jordan. She's a jewelry maker in Jordan. She's doing a project for putting 10 kids into an Islamic center that help the mentally challenged, to train them, educate them, so that they can later on hopefully be able to stand alone on themselves. And these are the projects. She's asking for $44,000. And with her, because she's doing it for us, what we offer, because one of her uniqueness is that we have two items. For amount of, you have to put a project. If you are not an NGO or not a registered NGO, you have to reach the full amount. But if you're an NGO or you're doing a project for NGO, your fee is reduced and you can keep all the money that you raise. And it has to be registered, because we felt that NGOs and charity organizations always want to try to raise money. So we didn't feel it was compelling for us to say, no, you have to reach your goal or not. So, and your fee is less. We take a fee on that, because our fee helps you promote, helps you have a website, builds that connectivity with a payment gateway. And the way to pay on this is you put your credit card details. We don't store anything. The credit card, your money gets transacted from the beginning for when your credit card information is put. And we work with a company in the UK called Checkout.com. So when your credit card is swiped, the money stays with Checkout. It doesn't come to us yet. It stays with Checkout until we tell Checkout that the money has reached or it's time to send the money. Then the money, they take their fees, and I'll show you. I'll have to show you just a little bit. So there's the fee. They take their fee, and then the money gets transferred to us. We take our fee of 4 or 5%, and then the money gets sent back, and then the money is wire transferred to you. And the key thing is that what we believe is that we're all about education and transparency. So if you're a creator, you come here and to post a project, and we recommend to come in and log in, and you can log in via Facebook or email, is that we actually have a calculator that tells you if you want $10,000, what should you be expecting? And that's the key thing. There's a platform fee and a credit card fees. So you might ask for $10,000 and have 1,000 backers, but you're not going to receive 10,000. You're going to be receiving probably 9,000 or 8,000 a little bit, because credit card fees have 2.89% plus 25 cents per transaction. So obviously, the more backers you have, the more people they're gonna charge, and then we take our platform fee. So we're all about transparency.
Do you promote the idea, or it's the creator who has to promote his idea?
We do both. So we will promote our site, and we'll also help as much as we can to promote the ideas. But at the same time, that doesn't mean that you as a creator should just wait on us, because the more people that promote it and the more people that talk about it, the better. So,
do you help the creator to have his own or her own website?
I'm sorry?
Do you help the creator to have his or her own website?
We can assist.
Linked to your website as well, I mean.
We can have, yes, because what we're offering is we're educating people as much as we can. So yes, we can sit with potential creators or even funders and tell them that, see what we can do, how we can help them to raise as much as money. Because what we have here is, we have a section at the bottom, tips.
Yeah.
And tips is talking about what crowdfunding is, and then we have specifications on, what are the benefits, how you should have your video, and more to come. And we have a section, we have a checklist when we log in, it specifies, okay, what you need to have. Facebook, you have your Facebook, you have your goals, you have everything set for you, so that you can be able to create. So what I would like to, I know we're limited on time, so I'll have to end it now. Please visit us on our site. We are live, and if you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask me. I'll give you have my business card, so I can give that to you guys. And